it looks like that, and nothing happened here on Lechar, which came as well from the taxes of everyone who existed in European Union. It looks like that. It was called as well a factory, DevCams, it had many names. And it was so corrupted, so closed, it was connection with governments as well, and it couldn't seriously disappear from the world. I thought newspapers wrote about it seriously 10 years. And of course, it's as well love protected those people, because it's according love in that part of the world. If something happened to animals, no harmfulness cases. That's why as well it's seriously, there is nothing like that, like court which is objective, because any judge has own opinion. Many, when they don't like animals, they as well show it. You see, actually in Eastern Europe, people, maybe it's as well because of that, they closed the system which was by washing brain. It's now changed, and it's begun that new politicians who came, new people began to speak, but it's really difficult to damage something which is really good building, and when part of society is on the high level and have the strong power as a judge, but many began to speak, especially with new young politicians, that is need to change. It means need to change the mentality of these people. It needs as well to change the system, but it will be difficult to change the system as well, because the mentality, simply because they think that they are rulers. They even speak about that they are different caste, and others should have nothing to them, but it's any check for them by the society, so they can do everything. And as well, mentality help that created by the socialists, that we don't fight with the system. The system is created, we do ourselves, and we try to survive and not going to work. It's actually the truth about whole countries, but post-Soviet republics created an perestroika, and as well was satellites. Seriously, I see it as well in the mentality of my mother, Dominic, as well in my parents. You won't change it, it's a system, and these people accept it, and that's why nothing changed in that countries, and even in change it came so slowly, because many simply accepted that it must be like that, and they don't see even a need to change it. I thought if they were gone on the street, if they were protest, they will change. But mentality help. Yes, we can read it was began to the process of close, but later he again got permission to open it, but it was the largest European shelter for stray animals, actually, and it wasn't a shelter. It was a place where no one wanted to be, actually. Another great place in the world, another paradise, which we have here, and it was described by Okoła Press, popular. It's probably, if I could remember, I will check so often. Weekly newspaper. Radysy. Radysy actually was the most awful place, because as I told, thought Wojtyszki at last didn't bury it, but it's because forward they bury it. And police found, as you can read, 4 tons of dead bodies and 600. We have no idea where they are. That is information which you can read if you see that's why I decided as well publish that dog on what page? My business page about Laura, dog who is from that shelter, to show the problem for what going rotation. Of course, it's not true that every shelter dogs were like that. Not because I did photos around the world. Okay, better than in the shelter. But when Dominic and I spoke about when they should do something about in that cases after Byron death, and we decided to begin that project, then we wanted as well to show a pathological. Greatest war with that pathology actually began when artists from Poland, Dorota Rawczewska, came to one of the shelter and began to send a dog's house. And she began to speak loud about volunteers, people who work in the shelters, spoke, wrote to many institutions, and didn't find answer and help. It was a very large place, as we can read. It was the greatest business. Laura, as it's wrote on my post, is unfortunately animals can be, because they are still, I think, according love, and that is why created a problem, and as well give away to animal abuse. Seriously, it gives the right to animal abuse as well. If you want to change its mentality, but it's not a thing, that word owner won't disappear from the languages, abuse won't disappear. Seriously, because according love, when it's actually open gate to many things. Evidence in the case, that's why isn't possible to adopt her, but it's possible to take her on the foster home. But seriously, I have no idea if she will find a foster home, because that dog is really scared. It's not seen because I cut, but you should watch a road, because I left a camera and need help her. Actually, everything on learning was work, but it's after the knowledge and permission of the shelter worker was done by the cake step. Cake, she is seriously worried, and as you saw, there was a trench ditch to the forest, a little cliff where she went when she began to search something, and one of her paw spun into the lash, and it began a problem because she didn't want to help. She even wanted to eat the lash, but each moment was worse, and actually she turned it in a ham. And now we got to a problem how to return to the moment when dog was on the leash and not leash on the dog, and not everything looks like ham covered with rope, like so that all traditional ham covered with a rope. So it was by the time on the beginning she didn't want, but she discovered she will not find the honey herb, and she is that ham. Every movement was a cake, and we take a part cake, and we take a part of a line. Take a cake, and we take a part of a line. And it took a time. It actually took several minutes to return to the normality. And ham as well felt from that cliff, which wasn't great. But so yeah, it was as well something very pathological, and the process began. So because everything here work, it doesn't matter if that countries came to European Union or not, in the way of Byzantine system. Bureaucracy is typical Byzantine thing, too much to grow, so for sure that trial will go on years, and these animals won't find their homes. As well, in the shelters, no one work with them, simply because there as well is not enough people to work with each dogs to bring them comfort, bring them to the society of dogs, let's say. So that's why as well we think about what dog will stay in the shelter, unfortunately. Kitten, puppy, because puppies and the oldest dogs have not chance to find it. With the dog cops, yes, why not? And it has made a bad name. It's Radysy, on after S is Y. And it's actually was created by TVN. Probably that painting will not be translated for you, but I will try to describe it. About the greatest population of animals, which is so popular to be promoted in the social media. Let's firstly ask how that population in Eastern Europe looks like, because mostly it's a chain. And they showed here a diagram graph to describe how that population looks like. And we described whole, beating in the shelters were null, of course, by good iron, like in medieval. Hunger starvation is no stable level. If it was that shelter which was closed by that artist which about who I had been spoke, Ms. Rabczewska, as well several politicians. And there came to many as well idiotical things, because people took wild animals. After 1 day they bring them back to another shelters, because they think that animals from something like that will be set on the couch. No, so something like that is really need to work with animals, and it will be not a puppet sitting on the couch, especially after something like that. Of course, it's something like that could exist. It must be a conspiracy, a plot with local governments, police, but as well veterinary inspectorate, and mostly I will blame veterinary inspectorate, because I know these people, I know how they work. Actually, they don't work. It's one of the greatest, warmest positions to work. They do actually nothing, and they take or not take, but mostly they don't. And we have here what painting. We didn't change it. So there is a number of what belongs greatest population from the Poland. Yes, the whole population. We have here numbers of all dogs, which we know, because many has no any identification, so even government know that the statistic is one big fake, it's understated, and we have a population of cats. As I told in many episodes, with a population of cats, it's understated more than dogs. Why? Because for the dogs is meat. Mostly people in village, not so often. Yeah, still some run away from it, but is need to each year to vaccination for rabies. That's why we now have a little knowledge about that population, because it's according to need. You can't have a dog with that. And of course, until police won't check, people have animals without it. But okay, let's say that many are more responsible, and because it has created a problem when, for example, dog run away, when dog bites someone, it's began the process, and police asking why it has a vaccination. There is a large fine mandate, so people prefer to vaccinate the rabies. Prefer, mostly pathology, not vaccinated rabies, but let's say they prefer. But with cats, well, love not exists. With cats as well, rabbits, or let's say, work different in the organism of cat. Mostly they are carriers, so they can have rabies, but they have no symptoms. And now we have a number of animals in the shelters. So that's what we have recognized. Yes, but officially have an owner. Have an owner, but it's difficult. It's another subject, object, how, what owner cooperated and exists with what animals. Because officially they have no owner. For example, they can be tied and take a field for what? For nothing, but he wanted to protect the field by the dog, as he would have a treasure there. Unfortunately, it's not a Belgium. Today we heard that they found the gold. We heard that we won't find the gold on that type of field. Seriously, I don't find. I'm sure that we won't find the gold on that type of field. It's not part of the world. Moving the forest, and well, the existence of other animals can be different. Of course, some will have a culture, we will have everyone will sleep. Well, that guy from the beginning who I showed with everything, and even humans sit near him because he afraid of sleep alone. But and he is still a unique person whom my father recognized when he has a cancer. He didn't recognize us, but he recognized Henry. So that's why Henry is so important. He is, especially with someone with cancer of mind, could recognize just him. And others only exist on train. Only exist on feeding once a week. For example, today I read information in the news that people fight for taking a dog who is feeding once a week and protect actually ruins. And it's something really popular, seriously, in that part of the world. And if someone have actually nothing, there is more protect. They feel like SARS, and they have better health. And dogs are need to protect. No one knows what. This is a number of animals in the shelters. Dogs and about horses, no one speak, but as well some shelters take a horse. And this is the numbers of which probably we know that existed on the street. In that good, clean Poland, which is recommended and good safety places. Okay, in Warsaw I took these animals very fast, I agree. But it's Warsaw, don't forget it. But its capital and capital around the world has overruled. Capital is advert of the countries, and government of capital always will want to show the best face. Because they come tourists, they come diplomats, they come business people to make a deal. It's different world. It's in some way propaganda, but it's around the world in every system. Like that was always. In the capital, exist was different than in the, for example, 10 kilometers behind. Behind, seriously, shelters will do everything to not to take animal from the city. Reasons are many. For example, some take a cash and will prefer to spend it on other things. For example, at coffee in the office. How could exist in that part of the world secretary without coffee and the cakes? Seriously, it is impossible. Like without the sex on the desk, with a chef. Many municipalities seriously did nothing but take donations in the case of homeless animal. And oversight of that coin, because it's always oversight of that coin, is that these shelters who exist are simply full. They have no place for new animals. And as well, mentality didn't help, doesn't help, and won't help if you won't speak about it loud, because still is one thing which connected both animals and as well orphan children, that they are bad. If they ended in that place, it means that they should stay there. They are healthy, and this is the best place for them. So we have another numbers here, numbers of cats. You see how many cats is to the dogs. No one take care about cats. And here we have those in the shelter. We have those who, according to some statistics, some exist on the 75,000. It's a really large number, and many of these animals won't find a home forever. We have cats in the shelters. As you see, there is lower number of the cats in the shelters. Also, because cat is like a cat, yes, he can go on. It's difficult to catch that cat, and if, as I told several times, cat came to the shelter is a really in terrible condition. As when we went with amputation, they mostly as well survived several months and died. So it's as well that's why that number is looks like that. And we have those who live on the streets and they have somehow survived or not. If we will be in the spring, then you will discover that road is actually covered by small kitten who didn't cross road. And of course you must go through the Warsaw. For example, by the road to Płock, beautiful second capital historical of Poland. Krakow was third, not second, as we thought. And it's not just a Krakow in Poland. For example, Gniezno is capital of Poland. As well, beautiful Czersk with Mazarin castles near Warsaw. Any other places, and you will see it. Very beautiful paradise. Yes. So now we are going to show those feral children. Seriously, those who looks survive perestroika. So this excellent when was made a problem about her. She exists, as I know. Even I think that nothing changed in that case. In the mental health, she got a room and she existed with a dog. And dog probably not existed longer, and learned that somehow existence as normal human, but it really gone very slowly. She has as well problem with walk because she gone to that dog house as a child, a very small child. She was probably 3 or 4 years old, so she's mostly walk like a dog. So that was one of the most famous cases that's from Ukraine, because she was born in 83. So that looks that person. I said that by teeny dog. And we have here as well famous man who had own film. I don't know if Guardian won't be happy that we show his material. With this Marcos Pantoja, he survived 12 years, not ages of course, 12 years with wolves, and now he works as let's call a guard of wolves in the national park in the Spain. With this his work, he probably now on the pension, but that was his work throughout the life actually. And his greatest dream is to return to his mother. So somewhere that really happened to wolves, and now we began to did that science check Lechars. We didn't so much look on them, but they heard is more connected than wolves actually. So exists really possibility that these animals created that connections which is possible that their mentality would accept something like that, like rising. They understand that someone is in need and they can help in a rising that person, even predators, even if it's a human. Of course, it can end different for the wolves. Wolves sometimes risk with when that person will change in the hunter, for example. He was man with his mother, that wolf, that Wolverine who raised him. Actually, so it's possible to read about him on the corner as well. He will write his surname, was even a movie about him. It's discussed about how that the movie was done, but was a movie about that person. Okay, so I'll show you the greatest paradises in that place of the world and describe why it's important to speak about it. And when you see a promotion on the population, to tell these people shut up and, for example, show them any dog on the chain, because it's important to change the mind people on the West that that population looks really different than in the Scandinavia or Germany. Shutters has no air conditioner in the boxes. Now is tomorrow will be again 56 degrees, so my dogs and cats will be sit under very own air conditioner, but in some shelters will be, for example, 60 degrees, especially in those old which were full of metals. Yes, actually it would be better to extract animals out than they give them left in that enclosure. And in one, I don't want to give now the name of that shelter, but several weeks ago during the heat warming day, one dog didn't survive. But it was what one of old type, and it was as one long-haired dog, and didn't survive. And for the end, I will show you a dog as always. Children in the orphan house behave voluntarily as well. The greatest problem of these places that orphan houses and dog shelters mostly people not visit because they are afraid to see it. And as well social media as well to make that life more easygoing and no drama, as well as we can see that we covered information about this. So actually any reason to publish information about pets in the social media when it's overwhelmed with porn going out open broke, because it will be covered and will not come to the people. And I wanted to show a movie, but that movie time would take more time, so I will not show that movie. I will add the movie from the town where I visit on the shelter, and of course a movie will be on the tube. I will show you one dog and one monument from that town. So we'll return again to the I need to write at the end to that company. Okay, so we have here a dog from São Paulo. Yes, on the Byron and Radysy, actually many dogs are from the São Paulo because it's a shelter full of old dogs. And the problem is that this is Lechar, beautiful Slavic name. Three, I can say that that dog has amazing full coat. Seriously, he has a full coat that full of colors. It's amazing that full coats full of colors. It's something rare to meet. In some case, probably the dog is somehow a result of husky or animal. But the dog has seriously problem with legs and the top. But photos was done in May, so not so far away. And I was very last week, and he seriously have a problem with mark that going worse, and he needs orthopedic lash. So that's why I showed him, which I wanted to show you a cat with legs, but I showed him. He is 10 years old and he is since winter in the shelter. And so, or he ran away when someone celebrated New Year, yes, with fireworks, and dogs ran away, and because there was frozen rivers, because it was very cold in that winter, 20 degree, and there was also river covered by ice, and maybe he couldn't return to that house. It's as well people may thought every dog will return to a house. They will not return, for example, when fall snow or the rain, because simple the signs by which dog move, by sniff as well, disappear then. The road is cut. It's worth to remember about it as well when you split that myth that dogs always return to the house. And it is possible to find that great myths as well from that great behaviorist which should be shut in the cage. And no, when we have rainy weather, when we have snowy weather, the sign will disappear and the dog will not return. As well, when we have tows, for example, yes, when the ice change into the water and the dog cross the lake, the river, that road to return is not possible. So his problem with legs is worse, and in orthopedic lash, and as well now two people work with him, one take a lash, one take a bag. So we can say that that dog will maybe, if we will accept that orthopedic lash, and in fact the truth is he will die in the shelter. Oh, and it's the cumbersome problem. There is a Danon cumbersome problem as well, and here is, this is as well Lechar, different photo. So I thought the oldest dog in that shelter is 16 years old, is in better condition than he. Might as well exist possibility that someone left him because he was old, and we need someone discovered, but he will need medical treatment because of course it's possible to treat that dog and exist with that type of dog. I exist with a dog who has problem with like 6 months, and that problem was because of cancer, not because of changing in the. No, it was something what is called meat cancer. So grow up meat and grow up bones in a strange condition, and actually she changed in someone like Joseph Marik, but it wasn't a problem with joints. What dog has a problem with joints, and she's orthopedic lash on the beginning. Yeah, I think it's work great. It's just you must need to stand up. In house, we gave her around carpets because we are typical Tatars, so we have no wood on the floors, but mostly tiles, floor of tiles to as well have a cleaner houses, and as well under the tiles is as well heating. So we gave that her carpets so she could move better. As well, we buy her stairs to the cars. By the time she didn't drove in the back, but in the inside the car, but as well need stairs to sitting on the couch. And she existed like that someone else. So, but you just need to. But of course, if we speak about addiction, actually, in that cases, chance are tiny. I thought it's really beautiful. Dog, especially that colors of the coat, and it's really nice dog. It's strange that no one searched him because it's really interesting dog.